be alive means to feel, and to feel means to suffer. For only through suffering can you reach happiness. If it wasn't for the lowest points, you'd never be able to rise. So even if it hurts, even if it drags your head to the depths, sometimes suffering can be the greatest feeling in the world. And what greater way is there to suffer than to approach something brand new that you've always been curious about, but never actually touched because you're stupid. Visual novels. You know them. You've maybe read some, love it, hate it. Personally, I find them enjoyable. I've always found game developers kind of mystifying. Gamers are still a pretty oppressed group to this day, so devs are seen as lower class citizens by a large part of the world. Sometimes, or maybe most of the times, including by gamers. Seeing them continue cooking the stuff in engines despite the hardship, I think it's pretty awesome sauce. Motivating even. One of the quote-unquote easiest game development programs is known as Ren'Py. It's primarily made for simplistic visual novels, but the engine has progressed pretty far over the years, and you can make things like dress-up games, management games, dungeon crawlers, point-and-click games. Can you make a run-and-jump or shooter? No, I don't think so. It is still primarily used for visual novels, with maybe some additional gameplay features such as stat raising. Since it's generally regarded as the easiest yawn, I've always had the desire to perhaps check it out and create my ideal yaoi dating sim or something. However, there were 3 pretty large obstacles. 1. I sucked at drawing. 2. I sucked at writing. And 3. I have never in my life attempted coding. It sounds scary. So I just kinda let it fade away from my mind for a pretty long time. But as the years passed and I hit the ripe age of 21, I started thinking about it again. My art has gotten better, decent enough at least that you can tell what the drawing is supposed to be. That's gotta count for something. And my writing is, I mean, I can write at least 5k words if I really want to. That's gotta count for something. So last obstacle was coding, right? Yeah, but that's still far in the future. After I turn 22 specifically. We are still at the writing stage of the story novels. So, in order to have a visual novel, you of course need a novel that you can turn visual in the first place. An engaging story full of interesting characters and message somewhere that resonates with players on an emotional basis. That's what writing means, baby. That's what art is all about, baby. So what did you write about? Well, I had difficulty deciding about that. Perhaps I could have made a fan game using one of my old fanfics. Maybe I could make a joke game that people either find funny or absolutely fucking horrendous because my sense of humor is incredibly subjective. But then I remembered. Neapolitan Nightmares. Also known as Neanight for short. Neapolitan Nightmares was this really old webcomic that I made and have since deleted. I don't think it's possible to find any trace of it anywhere because it barely had any pages. Like, I didn't even finish the first chapter because I got bored and watched a bunch of anime instead. It was about a pair of twins that absolutely fucking hated each other. And that's it really, I didn't think about it too much. I could only draw really crude, stick figure-ish beings, but in my head they looked similar to the Kagamine twins, with maybe a bit longer hair. One day, the brother cursed his sister and their friends to have endless nightmares. And if they die in the nightmare, they die in real life! Gee, how original. But luckily, the sister found a robot which could fold them into the nightmare and could battle the monsters in there. Hey, wait, hold on. That doesn't even sound close to the story you wrote. Well, duh, this was a story I thought of when I was like 13. Once I revisited it again, I changed a lot about it. Like, the characters and the overall story have completely changed. Oh, but the thing with the... Don't spoil it, idiot! Oh, right. Sorry. Okay, so how long did it take you to figure out the new story? Like, mentally, or when did it actually start, like, writing it? For the sake of simplicity, how long did the writing take? Approximately 5 months or so. Link's story took 2 months, still I still needed to establish some stuff in my head. Lucia's took only like 1, because by then the overall story was 90% figured out. And Ichigo's story was written while I was learning to code, so it also took 2. Wow, that's like almost half a year. Not just almost, more than half a year, because don't forget, we have one more obstacle I had to face. Ah, right. Coding. So, I'm pretty bad with numbers. Math is one of my greatest weaknesses, which is why Renpai was such a godsend, because a large part of the coding was just words. As long as you were avoiding easy spelling mistakes and have a good VPM score, you were in the green. There were things like pause statements and position statements, but luckily they weren't too difficult to figure out, even to a arithmophobe like me. Hell, I was even brave enough to add 1, count them, 1 custom animation statement. That's not all that impressive. It is to me, Sullivan. But it wasn't as much of a breeze as I thought. During the initial file, I ran into a Boolean problem which completely broke the file and I had to start a new one. I do not understand what Boolean means to this very day. No matter how much I read up on the word, it means nothing to me to this very day. What the fuck is Boolean? I would frequently forget to hide sprites. Sometimes while transferring a chapter into the coding space, I found a bunch of spelling mistakes that weren't detected by autocorrect. During the Strawberry storyline, especially, there were a bunch of moments that I had to straight up delete because my self-decided deadline was approaching and I couldn't afford to read it carefully over again and let my mind sit on it like I did with the other 2. Wait, why did you give yourself a deadline anyhow? What? I don't know, Sullivan. Why did you give yourself a deadline? Well, because summer is very hot and my hands get really sweaty when it gets hot, and I believe most of you could agree that drawing with sweaty hands sucks. In general, when it gets too hot, my motivation just dies, and I end up easily distracted more often. Hell, this video was probably taking a really long time to finish, because I constantly needed to get up and wash my hands, or I get distracted and watch anime instead. Finally, I was at the home stretch. I wrote it all out, I drew it all out, and made it playable. All that was left was uploading it online, and see how the future would play out. Yeah. Not many people have played it yet. Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, it's only been like, not even a month, right? Yeah. I mean, it depends on how long this video is gonna take. Maybe by then some people are gonna play it. So when are you making the yaoi dating sim? Oh, next year maybe? I got a few loose ideas brewing. Maybe something with zombies or something. I'd also like to do a sequel to Neanight someday. You know, once a certain number of views and downloads and stuff have, like, been done on the itch page. Mikamuma and Rockarella meets Merman are my current focuses though, with maybe some bonus stuff. Bonus stuff? Like the Death Note collab, for example. Ah, I see. I hope there's someone out there who likes the game. Yeah, me too.